Good morning, everybody, and a very warm welcome to today's show. Today's show is episode number 55. The date is the 6th of November 2023, and our working title for today is that this is a listener special because unfortunately my co-host isn't with me today, but we send our well wishes over to him, and hopefully he'll be back next week. So today's episode is going to be a little bit different than normal, and that's because, well, it's just myself here, but that doesn't mean it just has to be a one-man show. Oh no, oh no, oh no. We have the opportunity to be able to bring you on board and give you the opportunity to come along and speak to us. If you've got anything you want to share, anything you want to talk about, anything you want to get involved in, then please use the little link that I've just put in this post in the show notes or in the comments section, and come along and spend a little time with us this Monday morning. If not, then don't worry, I've got plenty of topics to talk about, and unfortunately though it's very me focused, but I'm sure we'll get around that and we'll figure that one out as we go along. But if you do want to come and say hello, then come along. You don't have to put your camera on, it can just be your wonderful voice, and you can be involved if you want to. So I'm just going to put the link back in one more time in the comments. If anyone does want to come along, then do use that comment link to come and say hi. All right, then let's start off today's episode with saying hello to everyone as always. So good morning to who we got first of all. Paul. Good morning, Paul. Hope you are doing well today. Louise Moore. Good morning. Hope you're having a good one. Natasha. Good morning, Natasha. I hear that there's a brand new book available. Maybe you want to come and talk a little bit more about your book. Paul, it's for Aaron only today. Yep, unfortunately it's just myself, but no problem whatsoever. Paul says good morning. Good morning to Paul as well. And Kirsty says, can I excuse days I'm heading? Of course you can. Yep, that's one of the notes we have in today's ICB Summit is right here, right today. Hopefully people can get themselves to it. I've already known 3 people who have said they can't make it on the show today because they're on the train on the way to the ICB Summit. So I think it's going to be a busy session today, which I'm looking forward to hearing all about. And if I do get a chance, I will come and say hello as well. But also it's the Lucas Awards later tonight as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. And I know that a few of you in the chat today have opportunities to win an award. So good luck to everyone who is involved. All right, first of all, a few housekeeping tips and all bits to talk about. First and foremost is we have an event coming up as well on November the 9th. So on Thursday, we are in Brighton for the QuickBooks Get Connected show, the final show of the series. So a little bit of a bittersweet, that one. It'd be good to kind of go over to Brighton, but it's gonna be a little bit upsetting to say goodbye to the roadshow. We've had some great time. It's been great to be jumping on that tour bus and going around and enjoying ourselves as well. So it'll be a bit of a strange one to have to say goodbye to the actual show itself. And it's going to be a bit of a different breakout sessions as well. Not everyone can make it to this particular one. But I'm sure we're going to have a good time anyway. And myself, Rebecca's going to be there. Rebecca Williams. There's going to be Jonathan Valentine. Reza Hodder's going to be there. So yeah, it's going to be a nice one to say goodbye. It's my first time of ever going to a Brighton as well. So looking forward to seeing how that comes across. Right then. So what notes have we got in for today? Well, we talked about QBO Brighton, which is great. Lucas Awards. So I thought it might be a nice one just to go through a couple of the Lucas Award nominations, announcements that got there, and see what we can look out for. So Lucas Awards itself is going to be tonight, 6th of November. Looking forward to seeing everybody who's going to be there. It'd be nice to actually have a bit of a moment to say hello to some of our listeners as well in person, and hopefully some of them are also going to go, like I said, go and get some awards. So let's go through what the Lucas Awards are going to be today. So shortlist announced. ICB has announced finalists for the 2023 Lucas Awards. So the bookkeeping finalists are New Practice of the Year. We'll just go through ones that we are fully aware of. So New Practice of the Year, there's 4 involved in that one. Small Practice of the Year, though. We have Kirsty herself. So she's up for nomination as Kirsty's Counting Services Limited. And there's a few others there that we recognise as well. Large Practice of the Year, we've got another one who's been on the podcast, Penelope. Penelope's there. So Wild Bookkeeping Limited. And a good friend of mine, Sylvia's up for it as well. So that'll be an interesting category to go through. Employed bookkeeping / team of the year. We've got 4 nominations for that one. And then we've got social media influencer of the year. Now, for this one, I'm excited to see who's going to come out on top of this one, because we have Laura Manton, Lisa Phillips, Penelope Allard, Rebecca Williams, and Stephanie Marshall. Now that is a one stacked area, that one. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that that's going to go through. And we'll get a nice little awards ceremony, and I hope whoever's going to win that's got their acceptance speech ready and waiting, because it'll be well deserved for that one. We have training provider leader, training provider of the year goes to Kaplan, Open Study, Oxford, Training Link, and Ideal Schools. So we'll see who we're then. And then my personal ones that I always get intrigued about is the vendor finalists, because these ones are going to be ones where it all really depends on A, who's been using the tech more than anything else, and B, what type of year they've had. Because, for example, data and expense app of the year, we have Auto Entry by Sage, fair enough. Free Agent makes sense, especially with their new data capture tool. HubDoc, yeah, okay, see how that goes. Intuit QuickBooks themselves, notably for receipt capture, I assume, and then Dext. Now, isn't it going to be a bit interesting today to see what happens with Dex on that one? They've obviously not gone through the best of times at this moment in time. I don't use them, so I can say that I'm happily to kind of put my opinions across. But it'd be interesting to see what the community's thought about them. You know, is this going to be something where, even though realistically they're still probably the best solution on the market, you know, market leader in all that, in terms of how their tech works and how their data extraction works for particular clients, and how people absolutely love using them. But how is the votes going to go? Are they going to vote for the type of the tech, or is it going to be very easy to notice the fact that it's all going to be down to personal opinions at this point in time? It will be interesting to see. I'm very much interested in that one. I think out of all of them, that's got kind of one of the bigger narratives behind it. We have the opportunity to talk about the next one, which is payroll and HR of the year. Again, it could be a bit of an insight into here about what people's doing with how they're voting for this, because again, we've got BrightPay, MoneySoft, QuickBooks Payroll, Sage Payroll, and Xero Payroll. Now, be a cynic of me, but Xero Payroll doesn't really count, in my opinion. It's kind of not the greatest software in the world. Interesting to see how Employment Hero hasn't made it to the conversation this year. This would be what you call it. And yes, Ashley, I am I'm over the worst of it, let's put it that way, but I am not feeling too great at all at this point in time. But that is life, that is the way it is. Again, I'm just going to stick a link in there, see if anyone would like to join me. So yeah, I mean, what can we say about it? Look, the payroll and HR software of the year, for me, BrightPay is still struggling with the whole cloud adoption. I know they took the solution off the market and then put it back on again, but it does show you that they're really struggling to adopt to that cloud element. MoneySoft is always been just the very cost effective version more than anything else, and there's a kind of a good pricing structure around it. Then there's QuickBooks Payroll, which I truly love and think it's great, but hasn't even been able to release the bureau solution as of yet. So is it fully feature rich at this point in time? Probably not. And then there's a good old faithful Sage. So it's gonna be interesting to see who comes out on top of that. I can only assume BrightPay will still have the opportunity to come in. And we have our first guest as well. Paul, welcome to Ask the Accountant. Can you hear us all right, and can we hear you?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, excellent. Oh, this is great. Look at this
Awesome.
technology actually working. Paul, you're sounding absolutely wonderful. Good to hear you. We're just talking about the Lucas Awards and the payroll and HR software of the year. What's your thoughts on the fact that there's no Employment Hero on there? Most of the software this year's had a bit of not quite had their updates they were hoping for. What would you think would come out on top of that one?
With payroll software, it's all kind of shifting quite quickly. The idea of moving into cloud solutions is fairly new. So I think a lot of people are just like stuck with the old systems, MoneySoft and stuff like that. Myself, I've just jumped onto FreshPay. Absolutely love it.
Good call.
Looked at Employment Hero. The only thing I kind of threw me off of Employment Hero is the fact that I was moving away from QuickBooks and QuickBooks Advanced, which it kind of looked the same. So for me, it was just I needed something different. I needed something that was standalone, just felt new and fresh, and kind of really I could manipulate and help with them to like progress it and move it forward. Which obviously I've also been doing with Client Engager as well. So it's been a nice journey coming into products that are willing to listen to us and develop with us.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Especially in the payroll department. I kind of it's interesting that they were one of the last ones to become fully cloud based, and it doesn't make much sense to why, right? Because if you
Mm.
think about it, a cloud based payroll solution makes a lot of sense because it's a cloud based solution where you then get to interact with your employees who more than likely would much prefer a cloud-based solution, having the opportunity to go and get into a portal, download their own pay slips, self-serve and all that sort of stuff. When you think of what the advantages of cloud-based comes into it, it's really weird how payroll was one of the last ones to adapt, wasn't it?
Yeah, and there still seems to be a bit of a disconnect between the employee side of things as well. The idea of self-serve, there's still that time management that seems to be completely separate in a lot of cases. I think Employment Hero is kind of bringing that all together quite nicely. But yeah, it's like there's still a lot to learn from the software side of things and how people actually interact with their staff.
Exactly. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Business Bank of the Year. We've got Barclays, Metal, NatWest, Starling, and Tide. Well, really, again, there's not been that much innovation. Starling still kind of leads the way in terms of being able to have the most feature rich in terms of features that they have. But then there's all the issues with them closing businesses down at the moment and not being able to being able to account for any group structures at the moment. The AML system seems to be all over the place and kind of allowing some in but not allowing others. Seems to be a little bit of a messy experience for them at the moment. Metal is one of my news articles today. They've actually had a bit of an uplift. They've had the opportunity at the moment to be able to have a tax calculator built directly in, especially if you're using, or I think you have to use free agent as part of it. So they're going to give the opportunity for end users to be able to have a chance to estimate their income tax, corporation tax, or VAT based directly on the data that's in there. So it seems like Metal's starting to really start to build up their features list at this point in time. Probably too late for this particular award ceremony that's going through. But have you had any experience with Metal or any of the other challenger banks or anything like that?
I'm actually a partner with Starling, which I kind of jumped on around the beginning of COVID, actually, and it was difficult to say the
Yeah,
least.
yeah,
I don't know if it was a situation where banks were really having troubles opening new banks for businesses because of everything that's going on. But yeah, the general process was always a bit of a challenge. And then we've tried other banks since then, but I haven't really settled with one specifically. So I say to clients, just go out there, look at the banks, do the searches online and see which best fits your needs, because every bank offers a different service, a different kind of features, whichever fits your needs, really.
yeah. Have you played around with Metal at all? Have any of your clients been using it at all?
Not yet, no. I'm still waiting for Metal to drop on my lap.
Yeah, it's one of those. I think we've got two clients, I think it is, but we don't really have much interaction with them in terms of kind of asking them questions or being able to ask them any questions. I've always been intrigued by it. And I know, the idea of your typical bank setting up their own challenger bank was quite exciting in terms of what they should be able to bring to the table and should be able to, be able to do. And the fact that them bringing in this whole, chance to have look at forecasting their taxes and everything else seems like a good step forward. And I know, or maybe they've not set it up yet, but I know they were looking into doing a whole integration with to pots and envelopes or whatever they've decided to call it, spaces, whatever their terminology is going to be. But I know they're looking to bring that into play as well. It'll be interesting to see how free agent copes with that though, because I'm sure have you seen the issues with Starling and having the problem with spaces and pots and everything else, with
Yeah,
QuickBooks and everything else that goes with it. I
yeah.
wonder how free
I have a styling account myself, and I've switched off to the pot side of things because
you
it
switched off
makes
or
it
you did.
confusing. Yeah, I switched off the pots and just had the
Yeah.
no pots on mine, so makes
Even
more
with
sense. Yeah,
the new spaces or pots connection with QuickBooks, bank connection, where you
and
can.
that's what I did. I basically went away from that because still wasn't working as I expected it to.
Okay.
So yeah, but yeah, it's a choice, and I like that choice. It's always having different choices is really good. But yeah, no. So you were saying about the new technology coming through banks. I think you said in a couple of shows ago about the fact that you can do all the calculations in some of the banks. You can categorize things, and yet you still can't get that into the software. So the category is kind of fixed to the styling or and it can't bring those into QuickBooks or things like that. And I think that's where the disconnect is. They need to kind of bring those APIs across and make it all work seamlessly rather than entering it in twice or sometimes 3 times.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, Metal I haven't messed around with. One of the ones I'm curious about, was it Halifax or NatWest who bought Free Agent and kind of turned it into their
Yeah.
own?
So NatWest
Yeah, it was
owns
NatWest,
free.
yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
surprised that they haven't kind of created more solid integration themselves in the way that would kind of expect to happen. But yeah, I think a lot of them do need to probably reach out to more of the accounting solutions rather than trying to build their own, which a lot of them seem to be doing.
Yeah, without a doubt. I feel like this one as well. Like we spoke a lot on previous shows and especially on QuickBooks Labs and everything else about that dream of what QuickBooks were going to bring with their QuickBooks bank account. And it feels like Metal and Free Agent have the opportunity to own that space, right? They all of that wonderfulness that we were talking about, like the ability to do approvals straight to your clients and having the ability to do envelopes and or pots as they called it or whatever they were going to call it. And having that all automated, you could have it so that every time an invoice comes in, then 10% of your fees go straight to a particular pot and everything else, all that sort of stuff. All that wonderfulness, you would feel that Metal and Free Agent are the one to be able to realize that. And other than bringing in pots, and I suppose maybe the start of this, tax calculation element of it, maybe a sign of things to come, but we'll have to wait and see on that one, won't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Wonderful. All right, then there's the Practice Management App of the Year award is next. Accounting Managed by Bright, Client Engager, Go Proposal by Sage, Iris Elements Practice Management, Sage for Accountants. Now, if anything's going to come as a bit of a surprise to you, we're probably going to be hoping that Client Engager walks away with a particular award on that one.
Most
But
definitely.
it's a very interesting time of the year for practice management at the moment, isn't it? Maybe we're kind of biased because we're part of the groups, and obviously we're quite influenced by what Johann's talking about in terms of the enhancements coming through. And you've already just mentioned that big one about the fact that they do listen to their community and they are bringing up updates related to what the community needs and wants and what they're pushing for. It's going to be an interesting one, isn't it, for the rest of them to who does walk away with that one? Like, is it still a county manager that was always the golden child of that, so that area? County manager was the kind of gold standard. Do you still think it? And it's interesting that practice management app of the year, Go Proposal's been bundled in with that. Would you class that as practice
Yeah,
management?
no, I wouldn't on that one. I have used Go Proposal in the past, but no, I think when you look at a category like that, you're going to kind of look at it as a whole, I think. So I think it's good that Client Engage is there, but it's still young. It's still, what is it? Still under a year since its release. It's been the brainchild of Andy and Johann for a long time, but it's still, there's a lot that they can do with it. And I think that's probably what's going to probably hold it from not getting the rewards, unless they have a new section to the promotion and stuff. But no, I think it's probably going to go to one of the main staple ones that people are using, and just the number of people that still won't shift to something new, especially if you've got a really good product. But yeah, I think Client Engager is definitely one to watch in a year or two.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those as well, isn't it? With practice management, it's one of the hardest things to move. You know, everything else we talk about, there's a pain point to them, but most of the time it's not
Absolutely.
client facing.
I built
it's
my own years and years ago using an Access database that I threw together to kind of manage all my clients. And then I moved from there because we switched to TaxCalc. Only a couple of years ago, we tried their practice management solution, but it wasn't really fitting our needs. And then suddenly Client Engager appeared, and I was in the process of looking for a new solution anyway. So it kind of fell right in that prime position for me to try it out.
So for you, it was a
Haven't
good
looked
time
back.
to move, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel like that's never a good time normally, right? I feel like you're definitely one of the exceptions to the rule, really, because normally nothing feels worse than having to move that back to. I mean, we had to do it in 48 hours in the end. We were forced to it and gun to our head sort of idea. But for most people, that is a difficult process. So yeah, it's interesting. And it's interesting on that practice management app of the year, who's not there? There's no Carbon, no Pixie. I know QuickBooks Practice Management's very, very new, so I wasn't expecting to see them there. But it is interesting that some of the quote unquote big boys didn't make it to the finalists. I mean, especially for Luca Awards, I thought they were. I thought there was quite a few of them who were Pixie pushers and Pixie users. So it's very interesting that they didn't make it to the award to the finalists, isn't it?
Is it possibly because of the amount of features it offers? I guess if they look at accountancy solutions that cover every aspect, and if some of those don't provide a full suite, rather than doing it through add-ons and stuff, maybe that's their reasoning for it.
Very good point. I mean, for me, I've been on record, and I'll say it again, I don't feel that Pixie is a proper practice management solution. It doesn't really offer that full suite. But especially for bookkeeping, I think it's a really good place to kind of bring people on and bring people in. While we were just talking about the world of practice management, we're going to move on to the next one there. But before that, we've got a new person joining. Hello, Natasha. How's it going your end? Can you hear us all right? And can we hear you?
I think so. Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
We can indeed. Good morning.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning.
Oh, and wearing your Sage top, controversial on this show.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just I virtually live in these. I have like Sage, I have QuickBooks, I have Xero, you name it. I just love hoodies. So
no problem at all. Absolutely no problem. And I was only joking. We love Sage over here at Ask the Accountant. Right. Do you want to join in, Natasha, in our conversation about practice management at all? Were you expecting anyone else to be on that list? Was there anyone you were expecting to see there? What's your thoughts on it?
My thoughts completely was that Client Engager should just win hands down. When you look at the service provided by the other, you can't virtually get hold of anybody. Client Engager they're there. They are making changes that are proactive. They listen to their users. And it's not months that we're waiting for updates. It's like seconds. And if there's an issue, they jump on it. That's why I love the fact that these Facebook communities that like Client Engager have made are so basically they're there. They're always there. Nobody's not around. I have my own issues like tax filer. You can never get hold of anybody. Client Engager, you just message, and within a few minutes or maybe an hour or two, depending on what Johann's doing or whoever, and you get an answer. You get even if they can't do it, they explain why they can't do it as well, or what processes they need to do. And for me, that wins hands down. So this is how software providers should actually be more interactive. They should be talking to their users. The end users are the most powerful things. We're the ones who actually spread the word. We're the ones who actually sell the products for them.
Yeah, completely. And I think you mentioned it there about community as well. I think that's important, right? But because even with Client Engager, there was I forget what question it was, but there was a question in over the weekend. No one had answered to it, but I was able to just go in and say, "Oh, here's your answer. Go off and enjoy." we're empowered enough as part of the community to go and help one another. We don't, whereas in other software solutions, we're kind of waiting, or you have to have it from them themselves, from their mouth. But from us, I've always said, like, one thing that I think Client Engager does well is they give us the tool to go off and do what we need to do. Whereas a lot of the other solutions, very much, they can work brilliantly, but they'll only work brilliantly if you use it their way, if you follow their perfect workflow, right? If you follow their workflow, it's a great tool. Client Engager, they kind of spun it on its head a little bit, and a lot of us are kind of going off in our own ways. I was talking to someone on Zoom not long ago, and we were like comparing how we're using it, and we're using it almost completely different, but that's the beauty of it, right? And that's where it's from. I think you're right. Go for it, Paul.
One of the other things about it is the fact that Johann is so enthusiastic about it. It's not a case of just answering a Facebook message or replying to an email. He will quite happily jump onto a Teams with people if they're having problems straight away and deal with those issues face to face. And that's something which I've never experienced in any other software, or even any other business, really. And it's something that almost I want to introduce with my business as well, because if clients have problems with their QuickBooks, I want to be able to jump onto a Teams with them and help them solve it out. It's really just getting that one-to-one remote support when you need it.
So would you be brave enough to create a community for your team, for your clients, so that they can maybe answer one another's questions?
I do actually have a Facebook community
really?
For my clients. Yep. Not a lot of them use it. I've kind of used it on the back of COVID again. It was just a way of kind of getting people some information out as it was happening, rather than me trying to create various text messages or emails or stuff like that. But yeah, it's kind of petered off, and I want to try and revive it fairly soon. But I think I need a bit more content to kind of fill it up with. I'm not producing it as quickly as Johann and Aaron.
Brilliant. All right. And the next one is Financial Service Provider of the Year. Now, the reason I want to talk about this one is because one of the entries. So we've got Go Cardless, which I'm sure, I guess both of you use. Do both of you use it? Just nod or yeah? Yeah, I imagine so. So definitely going to be in the conversation. Swoop, which we love Swoop, giving the opportunity for you to offer borrowing and lending opportunities for your clients, and also looking at grants, and there's an R&D aspect to it. Basically a really, really useful solution. Telero's always in that conversation, and we like Telero. Wise is there, and then the new one, Apron. Has either of you used Apron at all, or anything else? And was there anything you think is missing on the Financial Service Provider of the Year award for that one?
I'm just about to implement Apron. Yeah.
Oh, so you've not used it before. Have you seen that? Have you had the demo from it at all?
Yeah, the demo's absolutely unreal. It's so simple to use, and I love the fact there's different kind of levels, so you can set your clients have one level where they can authorize it, and to me that is the power taken from you. You're putting it in and they're still doing all the checking, but the software does the double checking, because it makes sure that you're paying the right people, the right name, and also gives the power of the client to then change the amount. So like if they disagree with the amount, that they've got a dispute with this kind of supplier or somebody, they can actually change the amount. It's kind of epic what they brought out, because they brought it out really quickly, but it's kind of like, I feel like it's going to advance even quicker, because it's that kind of software where they really put their heart and soul into it. So I'm excited to sort of launch it. It's going to be run on all my payrolls and all my supplier payments for November.
Amazing. Paul, what about you? Have you used it at all?
I haven't used Apron yet. I'm kind of still learning Cresco for obviously my own practice, and using it with a payroll solution and stuff like that. They're moving down the payment solutions a bit slower than Apron did, but it's definitely, I'm in conversations with them at the moment, just to try and get that all set up. So Apron is definitely one I'm keeping a close eye on. Definitely might consider it sometime later next year, just to start trying it out with a few clients. But yeah, it's definitely going somewhere, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think for me, like, that's the exact one you're missing there, or was missing from that list, Cresco. And it's a shame, isn't it? Because I feel like if this was this time last year, they would definitely be in the conversation, and they will always be there as an opportunity for us. But for whatever reason, they've just not been able to hit their stride at this point in time. They brought out an amazing product, and then that was kind of it. And I know they've had problems with like integrating with QuickBooks, they've integrated with others. So yeah, it's a shame that they've not been able to bring it on there as well. All right, let's go. There's only a couple more I want to go through out of all the lists because there's a lot to go through. But let's do bookkeeping software of the year. We got Free Agent, Intuit QuickBooks, Sage Accounting, Xero, and ZenCon Connect are the options there. So interesting how there's a few missing from that list, but that's some of your smaller ones like Line Books and everything else that's got in the conversation. But if you were going to have a gun to your head today, who do you think, based on this last year, was going to win it? Paul, do you want to go first on that one?
One of the nominees again.
So we have Free Agent, Intuit QuickBooks, Sage Accounting, ZenCon Connect, and Xero.
I mean, I'm a QuickBooks exclusive, so that would be my preferred choice. However, I think Sage have done an awful lot over the last couple of years, mostly through acquisitions, as you know, but it's still, from an ecosystem, it's probably got more bells and whistles than others. And I think that's probably going to snitch it for them. Probably, and the fact that they are a UK-based company as well might also swing it for them. But I think QuickBooks is definitely going in the right direction. Their new payroll solutions, the practice management side of it coming into it, and I'm hoping there is more focus on the receipt capture as well, because that's probably our biggest pain point in our practice at the moment, using that in practice. As much as I'd like to use everything within QuickBooks, we still find that auto entry or HubDoc or something like that fits the role better depending on the client. So yeah, my wish would be QuickBooks. My gut feeling would be Sage.
Okay. Natasha, who would you think is going to come away victorious this time?
To be honest, I think it'll be Xero. It always is Xero for some reason. But I would say ZenCon Connect. I absolutely love that software. I love the fact that it's more of a data analyst, and it's come on leaps and bounds recently. Yet my heart is with Sage, but that is because they have evolved so much. In the last 12 months, I've seen them evolve so much on my side, being a bookkeeper. But I do think it's going to be, unfortunately, Xero, who seems to monopolize most things at the moment. But I would love it to be somebody like ZenCon Connect.
Yeah, it'd be great for something new like that to come along, wouldn't it? Just to be able to say, well, not new, but someone different to the conversation to come along, just to help with innovation, right? Like that's where we feel like we're stagnating a little bit. There's not been that much in terms of innovation in the bookkeeping area. All of them have done really well in adding on new features and solutions, like we've got work papers and everything else in QuickBooks. But I feel like when it comes to pure bookkeeping, we've not had that much innovation. It's the little ones like Line Books that seem to understand that process more, because again, it's a little bit like Client Engager, right? They see the pain points and they're finding solutions to fix those pain points. I feel like, especially for these award ceremonies, it is going to always be someone like Xero or Sage, because they are designed for bookkeepers, aren't they? That is what their main focus is. It's how to make bookkeeping efficient. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, I wonder if ever we're going to see the likes of I forget what they're called now, cash flow or anything come back again, and anything like that. I assume they're gone. That's it. It's over. Yeah. And Twinfield as well. I feel like they're never going to get the progress it needs to be able to kind of get back in conversation. So be interesting.
The main issue though is integrations, isn't it? It's not just with the different types of aspects that we use. It's working with the products that the clients are using to run their business day to day. One of the most common ones we work with is a lot of garage shops and car sales, and companies like Techman, which have QuickBooks integrations, means that the data is just seamlessly flowing into our systems, and we can pick up at any time and run with it, and deal with what we need to. But yeah, that sort of integration needs to be, I think, at the forefront of it going forward.
Definitely. All right, tax account production software of the year. We've got BTC software with which was formerly the BrightPay ones is Bright's now, isn't it? Bright BTC software. Iris Elements tax accounts, which was formerly Tax Filer, Sage Final Account and Tax, TaxCalc, and Zero Tax. How did Zero Tax get into that conversation, if I'm completely honest? The rest of them, though, I mean, who would you? I think there's some really big hitters missing from that, if I'm honest. But who would want to kind of wade into what they think is going to win the award, or if they feel like someone's missing from that list? Natasha, you want to go first on this one?
I would say TaxCalc should win. They have brilliant things like power hours and stuff like that. One that shouldn't win is Tax Elements, because I think when they switch from Tax Filer to Tax Elements, they've lost some elements completely, and the customer services is completely lost. So I would say, and Sage for Accountants, believe it or not, a lot of their tax solutions is free, so that's amazing as well. So I think a big shout out to Tax Accountant Sage.
Yeah, let's hope for one of those two. I'm surprised Capium's not there in that conversation, and Nomi's not there either. I know Nomi doesn't get all that much of a good rep, but they're still part and parcel of that ecosystem, right? They're still not there, and it's probably too early to run them in there. But QuickBooks new pro tax solution's not there either. I kind of understand that one. It's kind of the same as Zero Tax really at this point in time, but the fact that whole area, that whole ecosystem is probably going to have a big change in the next year or so. It'll be interesting to see. Paul, who do you think should win it? And is there anyone else that we feel like should have been mentioned in that conversation?
My vote would definitely be TaxCalc. The simplicity they brought when they first came on board years and years ago, it's like 2012, they went into their kind of newer system where you could keep it all into one roof. I think before that it was downloading software each time into their system. So, but the whole process has been very, very simple to use, and that's what we need. We need to be able to kind of get the information through it as quickly as possible. I think a lot of the other softwares are real still struggling with that side of things, and I just generally find it so much easier to use. So yeah, until we see something groundbreaking on that side of things, I don't think it's going to be much of a shift from TaxCalc.
It's interesting both you went TaxCalc, which isn't cloud-based. Has that ever caused you any problems at all? Is that a non-issue when it comes to accountancy production solution, or is it just a nice to have, do you think, in the accounts production world?
My general view is, from the cloud-based versions, it's not been able to provide the seamless workflow that TaxCalc can, and that's where the big change is. Even though it's not cloud-based, they do have the cloud solution, which isn't technically cloud, but it works for me. I can simply log off on one computer and log on to another one. Yeah, I do have to ring the wife up and ask her to log me out if I forget to log out, not go into the office and things like that. But I can pick up where I left off, and no matter where I am, and so that's a benefit.
Natasha?
I find that something as important as tax with people's tax, I like it to be on one central place. And I think I'm old school. When I was taught accountancy years ago in an old thing, we always used to have one computer that was the main server. And for me, that's how I treat the tax. And I think that's how I sort of grow fond of the fact that it's still on one computer. It's just I don't find it a problem. I mean, you can just put it on another computer, or you log me in or anything. But to me, I find it's such an important area that I like it just on one computer. That's it.
Makes sense. And for me, like, we couldn't run our practice without cloud-based accounting software, but I do feel like there are enough workarounds to kind of get there if you need to. I just feel like for us, it was just one step too far to get those working rounds actually working. So we kind of just had to bite the bullet and just go with fully cloud-based. And you know what? We're happy with the solution we've got, but I do get a bit jealous from time to time because the TaxCalc especially have some really good features, don't they, that kind of really help to be more efficient. All right, next one is Client App of the Year. We've got Client Engager, Dex Prepare, Free Agent, Intuit QuickBooks and Zettle. What a strange mismatch of nominations for this one. I mean, it's kind of all over the place, isn't it, really, when you think about it? You've kind of got a practice management solution, you got QuickBooks, you got Free Agent, you got Zettle, which is sitting there to be able to prepare a few things. Who knows who's going to win this one? Is there some logic that I'm missing to this category, is historically or something? Is there?
So you did say client engager.
Yeah, client engager was number one. Yeah, well,
And
first
they,
one I mentioned.
They don't actually have an app yet, technically. The app's in development, coming any day now. But
yeah,
that's kind of the approach I would have thought. An app in regards to something you switch on your mobile phone and you can take with you. Yeah, I'm not too sure why that one's on there, but
well,
maybe they know
I
something we don't.
assume it's about servicing your clients, isn't it? That's what the category is designed for, isn't it? It's a service of your client element. And in fairness, Client Engager does do that well in terms of being able to have the client portal, having the opportunity to automate in terms of being able to get messages out to everyone else. Very strange category, but hey, look, it's category, and I would imagine they've got a chance to win. Is there anything missing from that list that you would say has been a huge? If you think your tech stack, what's one of your big client-facing ones? Anything you think can spring to mind?
Not for me. No, most of mine is literally directly through either Client Engager.
Not even your own app. Is that still a thing? The taxi app.
My taxi app, yeah. I mean, I'd love to get that in there. The TaxiMate app is something that is currently sitting on version 1.5, just about to be released. But it's only suits certain types of my clients, obviously with the name. But yeah, it's something I want to kind of take forward, and maybe one day I could be there. But other than that.
Natasha, anything you think's missing from that list? Would you say, if you look for your tech stack now, is there anything you think actually I wouldn't be able to live without at the moment with your clients?
I think I have an option. So at the moment, I'm running two data extraction software. So I have Dex and I have auto entry. So that's the only addition that I would have, auto entry, because they have a solution that Dex doesn't have, and it's really good for my big construction company clients. So the supplier statement reconciliation is a must for me. And Dex don't do it, which is really random, and they have no plans to do it. So for me, I think that's the only one missing. But I mean, I would hands down give it to Client Engager in this point, but just because they call when you log in, it's your app area. I think that's how they've got into that section.
Yeah, completely. I mean, on the back of Client Engager, I used Analytics. I'd always been aware of them, but never thought of a need to use them. But obviously, with Client Engagers, make it so simple. And if anything, they give you a bit of FOMO, don't you? If you don't use Analytics, it's like, well, what's this fancy button here that I can't press because I'm not involved in it? So I would say that they have at least an opportunity to be part of that conversation. Very niche, right? There's not for every single client out there, but for some clients that you use it for, it becomes a lifesaver, and it becomes absolutely essential for working with them. And then the only other one I would say, I don't know if you guys have ever used it, but Chaser. Have you guys use Chaser at all or anything? Yeah, I feel like Chaser's one of those that's a really powerful tool in terms of being able to help you have a better relationship with your client, like helping their pain points, getting them paid faster, getting them opportunities to be able to get that money in sooner rather than later. And it is a big step in terms of being that business advisory role and helping there. So yeah, I'd love to see coming through from there. So that was the client app of the year. Bookkeeping personality of the year, we've got Ian Holloway, Joe Wood, Johann Gorey, Kirsty St. John, and Laura Manton. That is a big list. Obviously, Kirsty is one of our listeners as well. We've got Johann there. I mean, we're always going to push for Johann to hopefully go and win that one. But when you're up against people like Joe Wood and that, like, that's a really stacked out one. If anything, doesn't that show how far we've come in as an industry, that we've got such big names representing that category this time around? What's your thoughts, Natasha?
I love the diversity of it. So you've got really big social media people, but you've also got ones that are really working more with the tech people and the software providers to get their brands out. So my heart is with Lara and Kirsty. I'm rooting for those two. Both of them are superstars in my eyes. Obviously, Johann's just a superstar anyway, so he's got his own little superstar world anyway. But I just think that these two, they are working so closely with other members of the ICB and also software providers to get software out that aren't well known out there and that are really sort of really helpful for us bookkeepers. I think that's where they should be championed in this award, and I think both of them should win it.
Wow, that I hope so. Yeah, I mean, also I believe as well, like it's all about this, right? Unsung heroes. It's like making people aware of it and giving them a platform. That's what this is all about. Paul, what's your thoughts?
My vote would have to go to Johann. Just because obviously I'm surprised you aren't on there, to be honest. But the idea of bringing the social media into accountants and just connecting accountants to each other, that to me is the biggest change in the industry over the past couple of years. Especially in my area, there's a lot of closed doors and that fear that if you talk to another accountant, they're going to take your clients away and this sort of thing. It's just, it needs to go. It goes away the dinosaur, because we need to talk, we need to communicate. There's plenty of businesses out there for all of us. And we need to share our ideas, because it only improves how we run our business.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me though, bookkeeping personality of the year, I think should stay as it is. I think Natasha's right. Like those unsung heroes, those people who are shouting for the rooftops, that's who should be learning, accepting and getting nominated for these awards. I do personally still see a room for social media, something of the year or whatever that topic's going to be.
Most definitely, yeah.
Yeah, let's get in podcasts. Let's get in some of the YouTube channels we've got in. Let's get in people who are always posting on LinkedIn and putting their thoughts through there. I do feel like there is room for an award like that. And I feel like that's for every award ceremony, right? And that's
Absolutely.
where hopefully we're going to go. And hopefully we'll be able to keep banging that drum to say, look, give us an opportunity to be represented. Because for we're not looking to win it or anything like that, but just having the opportunity to showcase the other great podcasts out there, give an opportunity to talk about those and some of the brilliant people on LinkedIn who are putting their comments on each and every day. I feel like there's an opportunity, right? And we have the Curly Whirly Awards, so you know there's an appetite for it out there, isn't there? So yeah,
and you've got people like Rachel Harris, who's constantly hitting social media. There's just so many stars almost for the industry that need to be expressed to people that aren't even knowing they're there. I mean, there's probably a lot of people that don't understand that there is a community on LinkedIn. Some people just look at it as a way of employing people, and it's just, there's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, me and Johan were talking on stage the last week about brands and personal brands and bringing that in. And one of the key takeaways we wanted to push to everyone is that selfishly, this isn't about us telling you how to improve your personal brand to, you know, for any other reason than to help the industry. Like the more people who can just put a couple of posts up there, put a bit of social media content out there, we need to change that perception of what a working in accountancy is like, right? It's still got that stigma against it. It's still got that opinion that it's, you know, just boring people sat there in front of a computer and typing away numbers. We need to change that perception, and that's going to come from personal brand. So the more we can push people to go out their comfort zone and try and put things forward, I think it's going to be better for everyone. And then the final one was Friendliest Software of the Year award. We got BrightPay, Client Engager, Free Agent, Sage, and Xero. I've got a feeling, Natasha, we'll go straight to you, what your opinions on this one's going to be. I'd imagine two of those are going to be up there on your friendliest award list.
Well, I think three actually. So I've got obviously Client Engager, because obviously the community I mentioned earlier on. Sage, because the reason why I moved to Sage was because their helpline support is unbeatable. It's you ring up, you get a real person, you get an answer, you get a solution. It's fantastic. Free Agent, they have they're just the same. Their support team are amazing, and when you work on your own like I do and you're a sole practitioner, having that support team that actually talks to you normally, that you don't have to wait in a queue for so many hours before you even get a response from somebody, It's a brilliant, and I even cried once when Sage picked all the phones up once and answered the question straight away with the solution. It's that important to have that kind of friendliness, that team who are supporting you. So that's, I go for 3. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I completely, and I think also kudos to Sage. They have big personalities there, don't they? You've got Mr. Sage himself, you've got other notable members of the Sage community, and they it's what they do well, right? They've always been that. They've got a face, and they're not just, you know, soulless. And I feel like that's where they've always. And I know a lot of the other practice solutions out there and account solutions out there are trying to follow suit, and rightly so, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? And that's why you're, you know, involved in Sage as you are, is because of that personality more than anything else, right?
Yeah, I feel like you're part of the family, and you're not alone. You're like an extension of their family, so to speak. So for me, having that support of those people and people who use Sage as well. I mean, I'm going to put big hands up to Samantha Mitchum. She's awesome, and she's a big advocate of them. But she will go out of her way to help others, because that's how she is, and that's how Sage are. And I think they all follow suit. So it's great to be part of the family and use their software. I don't just rave about them, I actually do use their software, and I do love it. And I find that it does power my solutions that I need for the clients I have.
Love it. Paul, what about you? What would you say is going to win that particular award? So remember, it was BrightPay, Client Engager, Free Agent, Sage, and Xero. And is there anyone out there that you think should be nominated for that one?
I'd like to see some of the smaller businesses that come forward. Hammock has got a really good relationship with their audience. FreshPay, again, the Free Girls do an amazing job at building that one up and communicating with that. But I think, yeah, Client Engage is probably my go-to to win it. But I think there's a lot of change coming to the industry in that regard. The communication side of things needs to go places, because there's so many products out there that just don't have that communication side of it. Xero still relies on emails for dealing with responses and stuff like that. It's just no, we need quicker response times.
Completely agree. Right, well, we're going to find out tonight who's there. Are either you going to the awards today?
I'm not going. No.
No worries. Well, we'll try and make sure that we get as much coverage as we can while we're there, as tastefully as possible. And hopefully we'll be able to get announcements up sooner rather than later of the winners. So looking forward to the awards tonight. Natasha, do you want to talk about your new venture that's happened over these last couple of weeks? I mean, you said it was a secret, and it was a secret. I know it was, but not the best kept secret in the world, was it?
I think the community that I launched wasn't a secret kind of thing, but the book was. I don't think anybody was prepared for me to be launching a book in 2 weeks' time. And that all came back with the support from Auto Entry by Sage. So it's kind of something that's been on the back burner for ages, and it basically empowers the fact that use your software as an employee, and that the sole practitioner can be a superhero, and they don't need to grow a team. They don't need a shop front. They don't need to earn X amount of money. Sole practitioners maybe do it for a different reason, the fact that they want a little income so they have more time off and things like that. And so a book has been nearly finished. It'll be out on the 16th as a free download for the first few weeks. So everybody can read it. I'd rather people have it, read it, and hopefully find some use for it.
Amazing. So give us a peek behind the curtains then. How long have you been looking to write a book for a number of years, or kind of how did that kind of process all come along, and how long did it take you to write in the first place?
Well, I've been working with Auto Entry since July. I believe we've been working on it as a sort of partnership. They've been sort of supporting me with it. But the idea of this has gone from years of supporting others. So I'm kind of quite known for having Facebook groups. So the first Facebook group I had was 27,000 members. Then the second one was 13,000. Now I have actually created my own first paid one. I know it's ironic, but there we go. But I wanted a book out to help people to know that everything isn't just all singing and dancing. We're all fantastic. I wanted to show the sad sides and the bad sides and how you overcome that as well. And the fact is that when you are a solo practitioner, you are a superhero because you wear that many different capes, that many different guises. You're everything from the cleaner to debt collectors. So it's all about how to cope with your day to day. And so the book has kind of been written in the last few months. It's quite more of a, this is how I've done it, but you don't have to do it. This is just a suggested solution. So, and it's quite open that way. But like I say, it's going to be a free download for everybody initially.
And who drew the picture? You got a little picture, haven't you? A superhero. From memory, it's got like a little mask on and stuff, hasn't it?
Yeah, the picture is fantastic team at Auto Entry who've designed my front cover for me. And we've got the amazing Chris Downing who's wrote the foreword in the book as well. So with their support, it's become a reality. And it's, like I say, it's my passion for the fact that I use software as my employee, and that's the only people I need is my software as the employees. And that's where it's all come from.
I love it. I love it. And also perfect timing as well, because Intuit's about to release their Heroes campaign as well. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you'll get a bit of traction for your. I mean, it's the same line, isn't it? You know, but you know, being the superhero for your clients, and your clients are heroes, and supporting them.
Exactly. I think it's what's been missed as well. I've been to a few events and I've watched everything online, and everything's all about building your business, growing your team, doing everything like that. And I want to showcase that that's just one course of way you can do it. There is many with our industry. It's changed so much since COVID that there is other ways of doing your own business. So practitioners, there's nothing to be scared about, and sing and dance it, be your own superhero. And like I say, there is some fantastic sole practitioner superheroes out there. Like, I'm going to mention Laura Manton again. She's a superhero sole practitioner. We can all do it. It's just everybody needs to stop being sheep and following other people and do what they want to and be their own superheroes.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, is there any plans for an audio version as well? Is that in the works, or?
I think the next stage for me is afterwards is I will be getting the book printed, so people, if they wish to, they can buy a printed version. Audiobook probably not until next year if I think about it, but it's mainly I wanted a free version to get out to those who want it. I think if it just helps one person, then it's done its job.
Exactly right. Exactly right. No, I'm looking forward to reading it. If we do get to ever have a vote on who does audio, though, obviously yourself, but maybe Chris Downing, you know, imagine getting him to
wow. That would be
right?
awesome, wouldn't it? Yeah. Everybody would want him to do that after he's been dancing on the dance floor after these parties. Yeah.
Exactly right. So yeah, no, really impressive. That is, yeah, as the fact that you just gone and done it is just, yeah, it's amazing to hear, because a lot of people they have that itch to do a book at some point, don't they? And they just never get around to doing it. But you've just shown that, you know, at the end of the day, to put your mind to it. And yeah, it's hard work, a lot of hard work, but yeah, you've been able to proof is in
yeah. So. Exactly. And like I say, a big shout out to Auto Entry and Sage. They are wonderful. They've really supported me amazingly. So well done to them.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it shows them, you know, friendliest of the year and all that. Like, that's kind of where they're coming from, isn't it, on that one? Paul, anything you want to talk about, push, or anything else? Anything before we wrap up the shows or anything?
Well, no, yeah, I was a sole practitioner, so what Natasha said was really kind of close to where I started. It was just me and my mum when we started our business 23 years ago now, and then I separated my business off in 2008. So yeah, we've come a long way, but it's been a big shift for me over the past couple of years. COVID did kind of pull me back to my home working, and only recently I moved into my own service office. And only just last week I moved from a 2-man office up to a 4-man office, so going places quite quickly. And obviously on that front is how I develop my business. So focus on the commercial vehicle side of things. So I pushed out the TaxiMate app, and I say 1.5 is coming anytime soon. We're just looking at moving the whole system into a cloud solution, because the main issue we had with our first version was it was all stored on the phones, which caused a number of problems with people losing their phones, and which was always an issue. And my goal for that was originally when HMRC turned around and said about MTD, was to have a solution that was free. And we've just realized it's just not possible with the security and everything else you need in place. You can't run a free app like that. So we will be going to a paid solution, but it will be a fully cloud-based, and you'll be able to log in and get all your data wherever you need it to. So we're really looking forward to pushing that when it all goes live, just jumping through a few hurdles, same as Johann's doing with his app. It's just getting past those initial hurdles with Apple and Google. But yeah, we're looking forward to it.
100%. And yeah, good luck with it. And yeah, I think offering them a paid for solution and giving them a new feature is the right way to go, isn't it? Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for coming along, Paul. Natasha, anything you want to plug other than your wonderful book? Is there anything else you want to put, anything you're doing this week, or anything you want people to go to, any groups you want them to join? Go for it. The floor is yours.
Yep, I've started the Maverick Revolution, which is supporting the Lone Rangers of the accounting world. You can find that on my website, which is www.bewitchingbks.co.uk. And we've got a couple of events already in this week, with one with Laura Day Henderson. So great. Thank you.
Amazing. Looking forward to hearing about more. Right. Well, thank you both of you for jumping in on this very different episode of Ask the Accountant. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I've definitely enjoyed having it. So thank you both of you. And yeah, we look forward to hopefully doing this again. I think this has been a nice little format, giving you the opportunity to come on.
Hear and yours. I'll see you in Brighton as well.
Oh, you're coming to Brighton, are you? Awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, looking forward to that one. We'll make sure we get some Ask the Accountant trump cards with us as well. So if any of you are looking to come and say hello to Brighton, then do come and say hello. Or at the Luca Award tonight, whichever works well. I'll try and have some top trumps on me as well. So again, Paul, Natasha, thank you so much for jumping on and spending your Monday morning with us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I've enjoyed it.
Great fun. Thank you so much. And we will see you for another exciting episode of Ask the Accountant next week. Bye for now.